What is coming to all of y'all gonna come to all of y'all. Mr. Nandlall, I think you should check your vice first thing. You punishing from a vice problem. And I know if you got coal in your head or something. That you as a minister say one thing and come back and say another thing. How can in this world with all these intelligent people in Guyana and the US and all the carry come so intelligence? Mr. Mohammed, you're claiming Mr. Hamid is a criminal enterprise and still make the man run for election. Now the man win the opposition seat. Now you're claiming that the Speaker of the House gone on holiday. Son, he gone on holiday. He in interest is all these Indian people doing what they feel like in Guyana. This is an Indian country. This country turned Indian now. Everybody doing and get no accountability for nobody. If some one minister to do wrong or say something wrong, there's nobody if he pay the price for we do. Now you telling the world that this man is a criminal enterprise. That's why y'all are swearing this man in this opposition seat. So the carry come the USA, France, Egypt, all this country where Guyana get we gone to ambassador to all this country. So this country gonna run 5 years without the opposition. So it's a bully thing in this country. Mr. Nandlall use a bully for the for Guyanese. You could just use Jack the I could just come up on my platform and talk something and the Indians and the Negro people going with it. The Indian people gonna go with it because the people that are already rich and people don't get everything controlled in this country. If you check it out, all the business, all the things that opening, Paramaro opening there is 94% Indian people gonna live there, rich people gonna live there. But father have a plan. It's how minister you has come together and then you room and you are planning for defeat certain race. Father get he room he's going to and get he plan for you to. So y'all not gonna live 100 years and 200 years to control this wealth where all y'all gathering, buddy. Y'all see what with Jamaica? Jamaica gets everybody was like Jamaica like that. Now the world gotta help them. All what I had this strike, I think is vanity. Y'all taking advantage on this country. I'm sure y'all gonna pay the price.
This is also what I meant when I said the healthcare system does not fully and wholeheartedly support women. When it comes to yeast infections and any sexual infection, sexually transmitted infection, when it comes to gut problems and all these kind of things, listen, I've dealt with the healthcare system a lot. As young as I am, I've dealt with the healthcare system a lot. I've dealt with doctors who actually gave a shit and know how to talk to you and deal with you and provide you with guidance and explain to you exactly what's going on with you and actually help you. I've also dealt with doctors who watch you came into their office, look at you, look at the paper, ask you questions and just tell you what to do and move on. They don't even tell you what's causing this, what is causing that, or what you should and should not do. They just tell you this is what you're gonna do, go along your way. I've dealt with that too. But I have a story time for you guys. This is my story on me having an abortion. Yeah, I might think, oh, this girl had an abortion. I don't give a fuck who tries to judge me. I don't care. I don't care. I've went through way too many shit to come out here and care about what anybody else get to say about any choices that I've made in my life. I made the wrong choices and I dealt with the consequences. Now, I had an abortion earlier this year in March. In March, I had an abortion, but I did the pill abortion. When you're going to get an abortion at GPHC, you have to get an appointment date. So what they would do is like, from the first time you go in, once the pregnancy is early, they would have you wait like 2 weeks to get the appointment date to receive the pills. And they just make sure you take it and everything like that, right? So I got my appointment. I went, I took the first pill right there in the hospital. They gave me the, how much was it? They gave me the 4 other pills to go home and take. You have to put 2 in each jar. After taking these pills, you're going to start getting a lot of bleeding, right? Like a day after or throughout that same day, you would end up getting a lot of bleeding. Okay. No problem. I went home, I took the pills, the bleeding ended up started. I was going through the process. I didn't get a lot of pain with it, but it was rough. I make it. I went through the process of taking the pills and everything. Now, I was bleeding for like a week. I talking about heavy, terrible, terrible, terrible bleeding on the toilet over and over and over and over again, filling up pads over and over and over and over again. But that is exactly what I expected. I didn't expect anything less. I also expected a lot of pain to come with it, but I didn't get pain that I couldn't manage. So I was fine. For the first week I went through it. Tell me why the next week I started getting excruciating belly pain. You know the pain you just get when you get like how to put it? The pain where you just get when your stomach feel tied up. That is the pain I was getting. I couldn't raise up. I couldn't stand up straight. I couldn't move. In the middle of the night, I lie down sleeping in my bed. And I started getting this excruciating belly pain. I come out of the bed. I couldn't stand up. I couldn't do anything. My mother had to come out and help me. Put hot water on my belly. Rubbing it. And the pain, it was easing, but it wasn't going away. It was a lot. And by this time, the bleeding has already stopped. So I wasn't sure as to why I was getting all this pain. Anyway, I decided, you know what, this is actually serious, because due to the fact that I had an abortion, I'm not bleeding, but I'm getting this pain. Something has to be wrong. I was already doing my own research, and it could be that I still have some tissues that need to pass out that didn't pass out. Anyway, I went to the hospital. I went over to the emergency part, right? And I told them what was going on. I explained to them that, okay, I'm getting stomach pain, right? I didn't go in and say belly pain, because shit, me whole, from here, stomach, straight down to the abdomen, the whole area, everything was hurting. I couldn't even walk. As I step, it hurts. Everything was hurting. When I went in, I explained exactly that to them. I told them my stomach was hurting. I explained to them that I had an abortion recently last week. The bleeding had stopped, but now I'm getting this really bad stomach pain. I'm not sure what is going on. Tell me why. The doctor came out and she asked me what's going on. Because this is after I explained to the nurse that is send you in, that is registering you and everything. The nurse registered me, gave me the band. I went back and sit down. A doctor came out to me because emergency they just deal with right away emergency patients and left everybody else to wait, if we being honest, and that hospital also tells you that. The doctor came out and she came to me, she asked me what's going on. I told her I'm getting stomach pain. I explained to her that I'm getting stomach pain, I'm getting a hard time standing, every time I walk it is hurting and whatever, right? And she turned and told me that a 20-year-old with stomach pain is not an emergency. You need to go over to the outpatient. Tell me why in the world my age has to do with me having stomach pain and it not being an emergency. I being dead ass. That is exactly what she told me. So I was like, wait, no. I explained to her I had an abortion last week. The bleeding had stopped. I'm not sure why I'm getting the stomach pain now. Right? So I came in to see like if I have retained tissues or something like that. Something is wrong. Something is going on. I'm not getting any bleeding, but my stomach is hurting. 20-year-olds with stomach pain is not an emergency. Go over to the outpatient. When I tell you, I was so frustrated. I was so upset. I was already sitting there for hours and in pain. I couldn't even raise up and stand up properly. So upset. Anyways, I came out to the hospital. I left. I was crying. I cried because this is not the first time GPHC turned me back. And this is a better situation from the first time they turned me back. This is not the first time they turned me back. I literally cried. I was so hurt. I couldn't believe what this doctor just said to me. So I left. I went over to the Planned Parenthood part where I actually did the abortion. I went over to them. I explained to them what is going on. They also tell me they don't deal with stomach pain. You have to go over to outpatient. I said, alright. I went over to outpatient now. I went to this doctor. This doctor, a lot of people is called rude, but bro, she was the realest doctor I've ever met. Right over the outpatient, nice, tall, dark-skinned lady. She is rude at times, but it's not necessarily rude. She's just very straightforward. I went over and I went and see her. When I went and I explained what is going on to her right away, she was like, wait, you're getting stomach pain? Which part exactly is hurting? Show me exactly what is hurting. I lie down on the bed. I show her exactly where it's hurting. She tried to press it and wave, and she see where the pain was coming from, and right away she was telling me, girl, something is wrong. Especially if you did an abortion recently and now you're getting this pain in your belly, something definitely wrong. And there is she telling me to go over to the emergency. I said, ma'am, emergency just send me over here because they don't deal with stomach pain. Tell me why the doctor look at me like I'm mad. She was like, what? She was like, what? They don't deal with stomach pain? I don't understand. What happened? I explained to her what happened and everything, and she was like, and they sent you over here? But then she was like, this is a normal shit what they just do. This is the shit that they just do. Anyway, she ended up writing me up. She sent me to go and make sure I get an ultrasound to see if I have any retained tissues and how much is it and why I'm getting the pain and everything. She write up everything. Anyways, after she done write up everything, I left and I went over to get the ultrasound. This doctor was shocked at the shit that I told her the other doctors told me. 20-year-old with stomach pain and did an abortion recently is not an emergency. And women out here thinking, yeah, we could go to the hospital for anything. They got who? They got who? Anyway, I went and get the ultrasound. It was tough. It was tough because I was laying there getting the ultrasound and I was in a lot of pain, and getting an ultrasound while in pain, it is a lot. I went and I get the ultrasound, and indeed it turned out that I did have retained tissues in the womb, and that is exactly why I was getting the pain in my entire belly area, because of the retained tissues. And due to the fact that I wasn't getting any bleeding, that shows that the tissues is stuck and it needs to find its way out. Part 2. Hey guys, welcome to part 2. So this is my story on my abortion and why I also said that the healthcare system does not fully support women. So I did went to get the ultrasound. It turns out that I did indeed have retained tissues, and I had to, the tissues weren't passing out because I wasn't getting any bleeding at the time. So it turns out that I had retained tissues. It was stuck in one place. So I had to get either a DNC or drink more of the tablet. The doctor that did the ultrasound for me gave it to me, and he told me to go back to the hospital with it so that they can immediately do something about it before it becomes septic and I get an infection and the situation becomes worse. I went back to outpatient with the ultrasound because she's the doctor that wrote off for me to get the ultrasound. She told me to come back that same day because she wanted us to deal with it right away. I went back to her. I showed her the ultrasound and she, oh my god, I love her. She was like, wow. She was like, shit. She was like, this is what's going on inside of you, and these people telling you that this is not an emergency. I was like, yeah. I said, yes, this is what's going on. These people telling me 20-year-olds with stomach pain after recently doing an abortion is not an emergency, and this is like a week after doing an abortion. And please note, a week after you did an abortion, you have to go back to the clinic, forget a checkup and a follow-up ultrasound. But my date for that had not came yet. Prior to that date coming up, that date was like the Thursday, and on the Monday I was already in pain, already going through a lot. So indeed, yes, I am going to go back to the hospital because something wrong, right? Anyways, I showed her the ultrasound. I told her exactly what they said to me and whatnot. The doctor decided to write up a whole full page, explain to the hospital exactly everything that happened, write up the doctor that sent me over to outpatient and everything. And she told them that they need to take care of this patient as soon as possible because something is wrong. She explained to them what was going on and whatever. I went back over to emergency. Tell me why this doctor tell me that, girl, here we're gonna happen. I know you ain't able to walk. because I don't have to walk and go over to Balwan Singh to get the ultrasound in the first place. And I tell y'all, my belly was hurting me so bad that walking was putting me in a lot of pain. It was her idea to send me over to emergency with a wheelchair because outpatient emergency is a long way. Even in the wheelchair, I was in pain. There were so much bumps to reach over there. Anyway, I finally reached over there. I gave them the paper and everything. The doctor that came to me and that was telling me that 20-year-old with stomach pain is not an emergency. Soon as the write-up got back to her, because like she supervisor tells you something, I don't know who tells you something. She come to me. She was like, what did I say to you? Me, you get up. Something she come telling me. Anyway, I explained to her that yes, you turned me back. You told me that this is not an emergency. You said that 20-year-olds with stomach pain is not an emergency. You told me that. And then she was like, you told me that it was your stomach that is hurting. That is not your abdomen. Don't you know the difference from your stomach and your abdomen? Don't you know how to be a doctor? I sure, as big as we are, when you go to a doctor and tell them you the in pain, they are gonna come to you and say, show me exactly where the pain is. Show me exactly where the pain is. Touch it. Show me where the pain is. As big as we are, that is what doctors do, and that is not what she did. And I am sure that is their training. That is not what she did. And if you listen to my entire story leading up to me telling you that I am getting this pain, you're supposed to know that there's something that is wrong. Don't come and argue with me because you have to take accountability for your actions. I accept that, you know what, I was wrong. I should have said like me whole belly or my abdomen hurting. I should have said you know, I accept that. But you didn't lead up and ask proper questions and do your job properly either. Yes, she literally came to argue with me. The doctor coming to argue with the patient. What is that? Coming to argue with the patient. Anyway, I got in to get the they scheduled a DNC to me for me. That is where they go in and they take out the retained tissue with some equipment and whatever. Right? I was very nervous about that. I did not want to do that, but it seemed as though it was the best option for me. I sat there from 4 o'clock in the afternoon to 10 o'clock in the night. I sat at the emergency from 4 o'clock in the afternoon to 10 o'clock in the night. I was sitting, waiting, and I was hungry, and I just breastfeed. And my son, he was a year and a couple months. I just breastfeed. My breast got so friggin' engorged, it was leaking because of how long I was at the hospital and with ultrasound and all the in between whole day. I was hungry, my breast was engorged, I was tired, I was in pain, and I was stressed out trying to figure out what the hell's going on. From 4 o'clock from 7 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock in the night. When I see it started coming down to 10 since 9:30, I call me what I said, Mommy, you know what? These people got me here so waiting long. I gotta get some tea. And this is the tea I have been telling you guys about. I gotta get some tea. Alright? From my research that I have been doing previously and whatever, I was explaining to me, Mother, let's make this tea for me. I tell you exactly how to make the tea and whatever. This tea that I'm selling now, it is clean out your womb, whatever retained tissues you got going on, whatever blood clot you got going on inside your womb. If you just get like the brownish blood after your period and you need to clean out in your womb, this is the tea for that. I tell my mother make the tea for me. My child father ended up bringing the tea at the hospital for me. Anyway, when he bring the tea now, I sat there, I drink out all the tea. I had it in like a one of them big tumbler. Big like this, a big tumbler with a big handle. A big tumbler of tea. By the time I reached halfway on the tea, because it was not fat, she didn't make it as strong as I wanted it. By the time I reached halfway on the tea, I was already in the toilet and I noticed the bleeding started again. By the time I reached halfway on the tea, I was already in the toilet and the bleeding started again. Yeah, it said the tissue started passing out by itself. And it wasn't even a lot, it was a small amount, but it was still causing a lot of pain. So I keep drinking the tissue started passing out, and whenever once I noticed the tissue started passing out, I get up with my band on my hand and I left. I left because my breast was engorged. I got up before I even left and tell them that the tissues was passing out or whatever. Before I even tell them anything, I get up and I go to one of the doctors inside and I explain to her that I've been waiting for a very long time. Nobody hasn't came to me and say anything. So she was like, the doctor that's supposed to deal with you is not here at the moment. I said okay. I went back on the other side. I tell my mother I coming home, I catch a taxi and I went home, I drink all the rest of my tea, and by the time I reach home the pain was already gone and I was so fucking relieved. By the time I reach home the pain was already gone, all the tissues done pass out and I was so fucking relieved. After sitting down waiting for the healthcare system to help me, waiting and begging the healthcare system to help me, from 7 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock in the night, I went home and drank a big cup of tea and I was perfectly fine. And please know, this is not a situation whereby it wasn't an emergency. This is not a situation whereby there wasn't anything going on. This is not a situation whereby it wasn't serious. It was serious. It was an emergency. But when you educate yourself, you know exactly what to do for you. You know how to put you first. So that is the reason why I stopped leaning on the healthcare system to help me and I started helping myself. I started putting me first and I started acting on my own timings to make sure that I good and make sure I get everything that I need. That is why y'all gonna see me selling detox. I don't care, y'all sick of seeing me face and talking about this detox, and y'all gonna see me selling this tea because these things are assets when it comes to women, especially women that are trying to take control of their life.